Hello and welcome to another World of Warships video. I'm Org, and in this one I'm going to show you the American Tier 2 destroyer, the Sampson, which is the equivalent, well, the American equivalent of the Umikaze, which I put a video up of a long time ago. But despite both being destroyers, they are actually very different ships. Well, to put it bluntly, the big difference is that the Sampson actually has good guns, while it has awful torpedoes, and the Umikaze is the opposite. The Sampson here gets four 102mm guns, which are very small. I mean, if you play World of Tanks, you'll know that there are tanks with bigger guns than those. But they do enough damage to get by. They have decent range, they have a decent rate of fire, they're very accurate. And the big difference between this and the Umikaze's guns is that these ones actually have a decent turret traverse, and they can actually keep up with the ship manoeuvring. The downside though is that the torpedoes on the Sampson only have 4.5 kilometers range, and that just really isn't enough. I mean, the torpedoes do a lot of damage when they hit, and you've actually got 8 tubes, 4 on each side, which means you can set up a fairly decent rate of fire with your torpedoes. But just that range is not really enough for me. But despite this, the Sampson is actually apparently my top ship. I have destroyed more enemy ships in Sampson than I have in any other ship, and as you can see, by quite a margin. Which is a bit odd considering that I don't actually like it. This first game is one that I actually do, I'm going to say alright in. I actually had a bit of a hard time finding Sampson games where I did kind of awesomely, but I've got a few here that I'll show you where I do good, is the word for it. Anyway, this one is in Islands, well, the map's called Islands. It's a pretty, well, it's not really a small game, it's pretty average for this tier. It's a tier 3 game, and the first thing we spot is a St. Louis, which, being a massive ship, we can spot miles and miles away. There's a couple more, well, actually one of them's St. Louis, but there's another cruiser over there. So I'm starting to turn to present my broadside to the St. Louis and figure we can take a few long-range shots. Sampson, despite being a destroyer, you mostly use your guns on this just because of the range advantage. And basically, I find the Sampson works best as kind of a defensive destroyer, as in you need your enemies to be advancing at you for you to do well. Because, well, it effectively increases your torpedo range. You can fire them off when the enemy's 5 kilometers away and they'll sail into them. And we've spotted an enemy destroyer right close. We've just got to clear this island and then we can start taking shots at it. And I'm firing AP at destroyers, which lots of people will tell you not to do, but as you can see, I took away a quarter of its health in that shot, and that volley kills it.
Confirmed penetration. Enemy destroyer.
And there's an enemy battleship. Unfortunately, we can't really hit it with torpedoes now because it's just going to go behind that island. But we can continue to hit it with AP, and got lucky there. We did 1,000 damage, which is very unusual when firing armor-piercing shots from a destroyer at a battleship. Usually you get about 50. I'm just trying to dodge the shots from that enemy cruiser there, and I send a few back myself. And, well, I'm getting lucky so far. Actually managed to get a hit land. And I decide this isn't a good situation, so I'm going to use my smoke to try and disengage from the enemy. That cruiser's taking blind shots, but those miss by miles. And I decide, well, the cruiser can't shoot us anymore, and I can get some shots on this battleship. And I was actually thinking I'd probably be able to get these shots off and not be detected, but wasn't quite that lucky. I'm doing a few hundred more damage. If you look on the minimap, I'm trying to keep that island between me and the cruiser just so it can't shoot at me. And I'm happy firing away at this battleship because I can see its guns are pointing, well, somewhere else. which means it's probably not even looking at me, and I can just pepper it and not really have any consequences. And anyway, now it's within 5 kilometers of me. So I decided to switch to torpedoes. And it started turning as soon as I fired them, which means I'm pretty sure those are going to miss. And I got really lucky there. The battleship shell hit me, but it over-penetrated, went straight through one side of my ship and out the other. So it did almost no damage. And now I'm back in my smoke screen that I laid earlier. And, well, no one can see me. So I fire 4 more torpedoes. And then decide to come around. And I'll fire my other side. You saw there I fired the first 2 torpedoes directly at the battleship, and the second 2 kind of directly in front of where, well, the predictor is telling me where it's going to be. And that was just because I thought it was accelerating. Well, maybe it was. The first 2 hit, and one of the second 2 hit. And then again, I fired 2 directly at it, and 2 just in front of where it's expected to be. And it spotted me, and it looks like my smoke screen's disappeared, so now I am exposed and everybody can see me. I managed to get 3 torpedoes hit again, fired off another 4, and it's shooting at me, but I'm getting a bit lucky here in that it's missing. 1 more hit. And another 4 torpedoes out, and I'm just zigzagging away to try and get a bit of separation because I really don't want to be in range of this guy's secondary guns. But unfortunately, I'm actually right about my maximum range here, so I can't get any further away while still firing torpedoes. But, well, it's not necessary because I get 1 more hit and that's enough to sink it.
Enemy battleship foundered.
And that is how you kill a battleship in a destroyer, or at least a Tier 2 Sampson with painfully low range. And it was also kind of what I was saying earlier about using it defensively, and that the whole time I was going away from it and it was kind of coming towards me and sailing into my torpedoes. It's just, if you're in, say, a stern chase and you're chasing after someone, you've got to get really close, since your torpedoes aren't particularly fast either. So yeah, if I was chasing down that battleship, I'd probably only really be able to fire my torpedoes when I was within 3 kilometers or so of it, by which point its secondary batteries would have been just, well, destroying me really quickly. But anyway, we're going to win this game. There's only 2 enemy ships left. One of them's a destroyer, which, well, you see there I can target it, but it's just gone, and, well, there's an island in the way anyway. There's an enemy cruiser way over the back. But I'm hoping that I can essentially get there nice and quickly and get some hits on this destroyer before it's game over. Well, I took some blind shots because I can see the smoke screen moving, which means I have a good idea where that destroyer is. I was actually kind of just hoping that it would shoot back at me and I'd be able to see it. And it looks like those shots missed as well. And now it's back behind the island, but it's got 3 of my friendly cruisers shooting at it. So now it's just a question of whether that destroyer will die before the game ends or not. Because, well, we're about to win by capping. And nope, it got to live, but we've still won. And in a second it will tell me 17 hits, 8 torpedoes hits, and sunk 2 enemy ships, a battleship and a destroyer. Top of my team, that's not surprising. I sunk the most powerful enemy ship, pretty much single-handedly. Did 31,000 damage with my torpedoes and 9,000 with my guns. So you can see, well, the guns in particular, they don't do a lot of damage, but it adds up pretty quickly thanks to the accuracy and rate of fire of these guns. This next game's just a quick one. I was playing late at night, and it was actually a one-on-one, myself versus an enemy Sampson. I fired some torpedoes blind because I had a good idea where it was. I'd spotted it about a minute earlier. Then we engage in a bit of a long-range gunnery drill, and I'm turning away from it because it's currently at 4.9 kilometers range, which means that in a stern chase, like I said, it can't fire its torpedoes at me, or at least its torpedoes won't reach me, whereas it'll be sailing into mine, so I have a chance of hitting it. In the meantime, I'm just focusing on gunnery here, because I'm pretty confident that, well, maybe confidence is the wrong word, but I should easily be able to sink this guy with my guns. Of course, it's in the exact same ship, but yep. You might also notice that the enemy is firing at me with, he's using its smoke screen, whereas I'm not. And that's essentially because I want this guy to know where it is. I want it to chase me, and I want it to keep shooting at me so that I know where it is and I can shoot back. Got one hit there. I suppose 400 is a decent damage roll for this gun. I think the maximum that this gun can do, or at maximum a single AP shell in this gun can do, is about 1200 damage. And you also see me, I'm firing my torpedoes at, well, with a broad spread, and that's just because in this situation, at this range, it's basically luck whether I hit this guy or not anyway. So I figure this way I'm just covering the most area. I tend to use narrow spreads usually just because they're much harder to dodge, and when they do hit they do a lot more damage. But it's also, I only really need to get one hit on this guy to sink it. So I'm just kind of waiting for the moment when I get lucky, and there we go. So you see that torpedo completely wrecked that guy. And that's actually basically how you deal with destroyers in, well, any class of ship. You go away from them, which effectively shortens their torpedo's range, and you can just fire away at them. And also because, you know, you're running away from them, it also minimises their speed advantage if they have one. So it gives you much longer to shoot at them before they can launch their torpedoes effectively at you. Just a bit of a tip. Now this game I've included because it's kind of, well, let's say how I feel a typical game of Sampson is, and that at the start here, you'll see me in a second, I play far too aggressively because I want to get an enemy ship within range of my torpedoes, so I go way too far forward, but I get incredibly lucky. And then the rest of the game, I'm kind of just chasing after enemies, trying to, you know, getting the occasional shot off with my gun, but not doing a lot of damage, and trying to get within range of my torpedoes, which just never happens. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about the Sampson at any point in this video so far is that it's actually pretty slow for a destroyer. It's got a 29.5 knot top speed, which, well, it's fast-ish for a regular ship. Most cruisers can do faster, and all destroyers, I'm pretty sure it's the slowest destroyer in the game. There's a few battleships even that are faster, and actually I think most aircraft carriers are faster than this. And even against, say, that Chester that I'm shooting at there, it's only got a 3 or 4 knot speed advantage, which means that when you are chasing down enemies, you're really just not, it takes a long time. Anyway, I was going to turn to the left to break off contact here, but I see enemy destroyer, and then I notice its engines are wrecked, so I essentially just stick around longer than I should trying to get its torpedo shot at it. And that allows that Chester I was shooting at before to get well within range of me. I flick my ship around and fire the torpedoes on the other side of my ship at it, and then switch back to my guns because I really want to kill this guy as quickly as I can. And I get two hits on it, which do a lot of damage. And now my other side's torpedoes are back ready, so I fire them off. But luckily there's a friendly destroyer there to help me out. And it looks like that enemy destroyer was also sunk. So I just got really lucky then. That Chester should have had me, and it probably would have if that friendly cruise or friendly destroyers hadn't been there. But even as it is, I still lost a third of my health. Anyway, we've seen another enemy destroyer, and I wanted to turn hard to starboard there to go chase after it, but there was a friendly destroyer in the way, so instead of ramming it I decided I'd take the long way around the island, and that kind of cost me, in that there's actually 2 enemy destroyers there, but I'm pretty sure this one here, that's only 4k's away from me, is about to die before I can get any shots on it. Whereas the other one's running away, and as I said, because of the low speed of the Sampson, it's going to take me a long time to catch it. Yeah, as you saw there, the lead destroyer in our group of 3 managed to sink it while dodging the enemy's torpedoes. So nice play there for the friendly destroyer. And now again it looks like we're going to win this. There are 4 enemy ships left, 3 of them cruisers, obviously all up in the northern corner, and 1 enemy destroyer which is 8.9 kilometers away from us, and well, it's gaining separation. So basically at this point I'm at the completely wrong side of the map, and myself and this friendly Sampson beside me are just going to spend the rest of the game trying to catch up. That destroyer's turned hard to port, so it's just come within kind of maximum range of my guns. I actually did it a fair while ago, but I was holding my shot because I didn't think I'd have much chance of hitting. And even at this range, as you see, guns are very accurate, but you've got to lead them effectively, and destroyers are quite hard to lead. Do get 1 shot there, which does a lot of damage. Well, a lot of damage for a destroyer. And that lead destroyer's torpedoes are out again. But the Sampson next to me actually managed to steal the kill from it. And this is the first of the enemy's cruisers, 11 kilometers away, but it's coming towards us. So it won't be too long before we can actually start shooting at it. Of course, if it keeps its current course, by the time I can start shooting it, there's a good chance it's going to be behind that island. And yep, it's in range, but I don't have shots. And the other 2 enemy cruisers are about 5 kilometers behind it, or 4 kilometers behind that ship, so it's going to be a while again before I can start shooting at them. So I'm guessing we're just going to have to focus on this one for a little bit. Or maybe we'll be able to get 1 or 2 shots off of this St. Louis before Chester comes in range, but no, Chester first here. And that's Chikuma, not a Chester at all. Anyway, got 2 hits, did 1200 damage before it gets sunk by my friendly destroyer's torpedoes. And now we can shoot at the St. Louis. And well, I managed to straddle it, but I wasn't really expecting to do a lot of damage to that ship since it's got so much armour anyway. And here I actually realised I can get an ambush shot off on this St. Louis, which is kind of the only real effective way to use American destroyers offensively as opposed to defensively. So right now I can see the St. Louis, but I doubt it can see me, which means it's probably not going to be expecting these torpedoes I just fired. And hopefully it'll go, well, keep at the same speed and moving straight. But unfortunately it looks like it's starting to turn, and that's because there are friendly torpedoes coming in from the left. So my one's going to miss, but I can swing my other side around and fire off some shots there. I was expecting it to actually run aground, but the guy was paying a bit more attention than that. So most of my torpedoes miss, but I get 1 hit. And I've come around, so my other torpedoes could have fired, but the enemy ship's destroyed. And well, that was kind of an unsuccessful ambush by me, but very successful by my team. I mean, I can't complain. 1 torpedo hit probably does. Probably that 1 hit did as much damage as my entire ship's combat capacity. So really, when you think about it, you get 1 torpedo in the game and you've done well. But anyway, we win by capping. So that game I wouldn't say I did poorly, 13 gun hits and 3 torpedo hits, but it was a bit frustrating because, well, firstly I put myself in a stupid situation, and then I spent the whole rest of the game just trying to get back into the fight. And, yeah. This last game I'm going to show you, it's a quick game, but I just kind of want to show you how effective the guns on this thing can be. Like, the American destroyers are great for killing enemy destroyers. See, I got one hit there, and managed to get a second one before the destroyer goes into the smoke, so I take some blind shots. But obviously they've both missed. And what I've done here is, this game, as you can see up top, was very destroyer heavy, so I decided I was going to go into the cap circle and try and force all the destroyers to come to me, where I could then essentially play defensively, like the Sampson is good at, forcing them to attack me while I can run away and torpedo them. But of course, actually, well, not of course, in this game, the enemy just decided not to come and fight me. I'm actually having a really hard time getting shots off onto this destroyer, but when I do just shy of 4,000 damage. And the, well, not 79 damage, not really a lot, and that one misses. So that was kind of a poor showing, but the thing is, you can do a lot of damage firing AP at destroyers if you, well, aim decently, a lot better than I did in that engagement, and a bit of luck. Now, this enemy destroyers, finally someone's come to attack me, so I fired some torpedoes, and start blazing away with my guns, and slow and steady rate of fire, but it's doing the damage. I actually managed to take out my torpedo troops there, so I decided better repair it. But I get lucky, and that guy didn't dodge any, or at all, and it sailed into the very first torpedo I fired to give me a nice and easy kill. And the other advantage of that was that I was actually about to leave the circle and do what you saw me do in the 1v1 video I put up earlier. Just leave the circle and force it to chase me, or at least hopefully it would chase me. But in the end I didn't actually have to. Okay, there's only one destroyer left, and I'm guessing it's over in that cloud of smoke over there. Which means coming at it like this, I should bump into it head on, or at least that's what I thought would happen. But so far we haven't seen it. And I was thinking, if it is coming straight for me and straight for the cap circle, I probably would see it now. You saw me checking, it is a Sampson, so it's a slow destroyer. But still, like, I really expect I should be able to see it by now. Like, 'cause it's only 9 kilometers to that far landmass, and you can usually spot Sampsons, I think, within 8.3-ish kilometers is their detection range. And then I see the smoke pop up on the other side of the island, so I'm going, well, obviously that is where the guy is. So I start to do a U-turn to essentially get round behind it. And then I decide to change direction because, well, I decided it was better to kind of cross its T behind it while the rest of my team's in front of it. But I realise that's going to take longer, so I pull hard around to port and I come up around this side of the island, which will put us on parallel courses but me to its rear, which means I'll be quite vulnerable to its torpedoes, but I'm basically hoping that it's not going to notice me because it's going to be too busy focusing at my team. And we don't really have shots yet. So here we go. 2 shots out. 2,580 damage.
Confirmed penetration.
And there's 2 more. And that one only did 640 with a single hit. And well, that cruiser gets the kill just before me. But you saw kind of on that one destroyer that I shot at poorly, I only got about 2 hits, but did probably 3 hits and did 5,500 damage, whereas that last one there, again, 3 hits and a lot of damage. I actually managed to get top of my team despite only sinking 1 enemy ship, just because I did a lot of damage with my guns. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.